Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching 7th part of What If Naruto Became a Player. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Naruto and his friends left the KSA with Anko. She led them through the village to the north side and then through two empty training fields until they reached a large area with a fence around it. Welcome to Training Field 44, or as I like to call it, the Forest of Death. This is where we'll be holding the second stage, but before you go in, you'll need to sign these waivers. One of the genin asked, releases for what? In case you die in there, we don't want to be held responsible, she said with a smile. She's a little crazy, Naruto said in a whisper. He was going to say more, but a kunai flew at his face and cut him just a little. This stopped him from saying anything else. Little brats who don't listen usually die first, a smooth and dangerous voice whispered in his ear. Then he felt a tongue lick his cheek, right where the cut was. You taste good, the proctor said with a sigh. Excuse me, but you dropped this, said another voice from behind both Anko and him. This time, when the tongue came out, it was wrapped with a kunai and threatened to cut Anko's throat. Thank you, said Anko as he used another kunai to tap the would-be killer on the inner thigh. At that point, the three of them went their separate ways, so the problem was obviously solved. Naruto paid special attention to the person who attacked Anko because something about him gave him the creeps. Orochimaru LV? Naruto frowned because he didn't remember this person from the week before the exam, when they were spying on people. He would have remembered, but he didn't recognize the face, which means he may have come when they weren't watching the gate. Still, he felt like he should know that name, but he couldn't remember where or why it was important. Naruto, let's go, Sakura said, waking him up. Naruto ran to join them and quickly forgot about the mysterious man. This was a mistake that would come back to haunt him soon. After each of them signed a form, Naruto took the scroll for his team and put it in his inventory. Then, he and the rest of his team went to their assigned entrance gate. On the way to the gate, a very strange quest message appears in a blue box. When the hidden objective is done, you get 100,000 experience. The mystery of Kabuto, a hidden quest, has been found. Find out all the secrets about Yakushi Kabuto. Hidden objectives. Bring the proctor's attention to what Yakushi is doing. Award for completion, 10 million express. Title, Tante. 100,000 express per hidden objective. What the fuck? Naruto muttered as he read the quest. How in the hell did I get this? Sakura looked at him, but Sasuke was too far away to hear him. What went on? I found something like a hidden quest. What's up with that? So the whole thing is hidden. I don't know what the goals are until I've reached them. There is also no time limit. Either I do it or I don't. Is it really even worth it? Yes, it gives me a lot of experience, but it also gives me a new name, Tante. You want to be a detective? What would that get you? I don't know, and I won't know until I actually get it, but who knows when that will be. But that didn't answer the question of how he had gotten the proctor's attention. Then he realized that the proctor must have looked at the notes he'd written on the back of his test. When they got to their assigned entrance gate, they couldn't think about anything else. Give me the scroll, Sasuke told them as he turned around so his back was to the closed gate. Nope, said Naruto, smirking. Give me the scroll, I can handle it better than you. I can keep it safe, but you can't. Tell you what, if you can find the scroll on me, you can take it, Naruto said, holding his arms out to the side. Sasuke could never find it because it was in Naruto's inventory, which only he could get to. It was a win-win situation for both of them. Sasuke touched Naruto quickly all over, then looked in his pockets. Seals? Of course, Naruto said, happy with his win. Sasuke grunted, fine, and turned away to look into the forest while waiting for the gate to be opened. His body language showed that he was not happy. So, do we know how to get the other scroll? Asked Sakura. Find someone else's team and take it? Naruto asked and said at the same time. Sakura rolled her eyes. We can rush to the tower and set up a trap for a team coming in with both scrolls. We could also go hunting in the forest, but there's a chance we won't find anyone or that we'll find Gaara's team. Why not try to join forces with Shikamaru's group? Naruto asked after some thought. That would be wonderful, if we could find them. We don't need to work with anyone, they'll just slow us down, Sasuke said. It was clear that he didn't like that Naruto was carrying the scroll or that he couldn't find the scroll on Naruto to take for himself. So, Sasuke-kun, what do you want to do? Sakura asked in a frustrated tone. Easy, we find other teams, take their scrolls, and then go to the tower, he said as if it were that simple. Why are you so damn stubborn about this whole thing? How can we do this without knowing what's going on? Asked Naruto. We need to work together right now. What the hell do you think being Chunin means? I don't care about Chunin, he said. I'm here to fight strong opponents. There's nothing else you could be doing here. Naruto wanted to scream and rip out his hair. Are you fucking kidding me with this S***? Why would I be joking? I don't care if we pass or fail this test. I need to get stronger, and the best way to do that is to fight strong opponents. Sasuke, do you understand that if we reach the rank of Chunin, we can take on missions for higher ranks? And when we take on missions with a higher rank, we get the chance to fight tough opponents. What makes this so hard to understand? Naruto said. He said. When the gate opened and Sasuke jumped into the canopy, it stopped any more fighting. Asshole, Naruto said as he followed him. Sakura just sighed before she and her team ran after the monster. When Naruto went through the gate, 2 blue windows appeared. The first was the second stage's new quest. Quest alert. Stage 2 of the Chunin selection exam. Finish the second part of the Chunin selection exam without failing. Objectives. Get an Earth Scroll and a Heaven Scroll. You have 5 days to get to the center tower. Goals for extras. Award for completion, 100,000 express. 50,000 express per bonus objective. Completion failure, 10,000 express. Death or the end of the Chunin exam. Even as he accepted the quest, he was thinking about the fight with Sasuke. He didn't like Sasuke's attitude going into this. If he'd known that Sasuke was going to do this crap, he wouldn't have bothered to show up. It was putting everyone's lives in danger for no reason. In the second window, there was a description of the training field. Mitarashi Anko called this forest the Forest of Death, and it really is a place of death. Many shinobi have died here, and it wasn't just because they were killed by other shinobi. In this place, the forest itself can kill you just as easily. War Zone. Recommended level, 26. Naruto's first thought was, what the hell does War Zone mean? Then, as if to answer his question, his observe skill went off on the word. War Zone is a big map where you can fight, but there is no set path or way to go. You can explore or fight in any area. That was a little different, but it made sense. Most of the training fields seem to follow a single path to the end, leaving very little space to explore and fight, or maybe the monsters seem to lead him along a single path. Naruto shook himself to get his mind back on what was going on. Sasuke was ahead of them, leaping through the forest and trying to get as far away from the gate as he could. It was pretty stupid to just go in and look for people to fight without a better plan. When Naruto suddenly stopped, he almost hit Sasuke. Luckily, he was able to stop on the branch next to Sasuke, and Sakura stopped on the other side of Sasuke. They're mine, Sasuke said, pointing to a group of Suna genin below them. Thankfully, it wasn't Gaara's team. Naruto saw 3 genin below who were not aware of him. 2 of them were level 17, and 1 was level 19. Without a plan, Sasuke jumped down from above and hit 2 of them in the back of the neck with a kunai, cutting their spinal cords like a puppet's strings. The last genin quickly turned around, his eyes wide with fear, and tried to run away, but Sasuke cut off his head with his Chikudo. That was disappointing, Sasuke said as he wiped his blade and put it back in its sheath. And dumb, Naruto said. You could have easily knocked them all out. Killing them was not necessary at all. Sasuke didn't pay attention to him and instead jumped back into the trees. Naruto jumped down from the trees and quickly looked through the bodies. He found another Heaven Scroll and put it with the other one in his inventory. Bonus for finishing, 50,000 express. Quest alert. Stage 2 of the Chunin selection exam. Finish the second part of the Chunin selection exam without failing. Objectives. Get an Earth Scroll and a Heaven Scroll. You have 5 days to get to the center tower. Goals for extras. Acquire an extra Heaven Scroll. Award for completion, 100,000 express. 50,000 express per bonus objective. Completion failure, 10,000 express. Death or the end of the Chunin exam. He went back quickly into the trees to try to catch up to Sasuke and Sakura. Naruto didn't like this plan because it relied too much on luck and not enough on strategy. He was even less happy when he was attacked with kunai and shuriken, forcing him out of the trees and onto the ground, where he was surrounded by 6 Suna genin. "You killed our friends," one of them said, making it clear that he was in charge of this small group. Even though he was being ambushed, Sasuke and Sakura kept going and didn't even notice. Eventually, they would notice and come back, but for now he was alone against 6 genin with the highest level being 21. Naruto said, "We don't have to do this, you can leave now," but it was mostly a lie. He was in a very dangerous situation, and for now, his best hope was to spread them out and kill them one by one. Naruto used Kage Bunshin no Jutsu quickly to make almost 30 clones. 15 of the clones attacked the other genin right away, seriously hurting 2 of them. The other 15 clones and Naruto himself ran in all different directions, making the other genin confused and angry. Naruto laughed as one of the genin actually caught up with him. The poor boy who was chasing him didn't see the 2 shadow clones coming at him from both sides, knocking him to the ground and knocking him out cold. Naruto found him and tied him up. He looked in his pockets but didn't find anything. His search was cut short when he got a memory of one of his clones being killed, which told him where the killer was. Naruto and his 2 clones gave each other silent nods and jumped into the tree canopy. Naruto didn't have to look long to find the killer. He had gotten together with the other Suna genin. Naruto gave a small smirk. This was easier to handle than before, but it was still dangerous because they knew he was coming. "This was supposed to be easy," someone said. "Shut up, Toji. This is the Chunin exam for crying out loud. If it were easy, everyone would pass." "This is all your fault, Josu," said someone else. "My team is dead because of your stupid plan. Nari, you were just as excited about this as the rest of us." "But we all knew the risks," replied Josu. "So what now, we're pretty much out?" Toji asked. Naruto could tell that Josu was in charge of setting up the trap for him. "We're going to kill that jerk and then go home." When Naruto had heard enough, he told his clones to attack. The plan was to try to split them up again and kill them one by one. Dozens of clones fell from the tree canopy above and attacked them non-stop, making it easy for them to move away from each other. When the clone slammed Nari into a tree and knocked the air out of her lungs, Naruto dropped in front of her and slammed her head into the tree, knocking her out. 2 clones picked her up and went back into the trees to tie her up, but not before Naruto took another heaven scroll. Naruto's next target was Toji, a level 18 boy who wasn't doing well against the clones. Naruto could see the boy's health going down quickly, but before he could get to him, Sasuke and Sakura ran him through from behind. When Naruto looked at the last one, he saw that he was screaming and holding his head before passing out. "You're getting scary good at genjutsu," Naruto told Sakura as he watched her drop down from her hiding place in the canopy above. Sakura smiled. "Thanks. You okay?" "I'm fine, but the ambush was kind of stupid. Fools had to talk before they tried to kill me. They gave me the time I needed to make a distraction and scatter them," he said while looking through Josu's body for a scroll. He found an earth scroll and quickly added it to his inventory. "We have all the scrolls, right?" Sakura asked, even though she already knew the answer. "Yeah, we can go up to the tower now. We haven't left yet." Sasuke jumped back into the trees and said, "There are more people to fight here." "This is stupid," Sakura said when she had had enough. "Should we knock him out and pull him to the tower?" asked Naruto. She said, "Probably not the best idea," feeling a little sad about the situation. Naruto said, "Come on, we should follow him before he takes on more than he can handle." Sakura nodded, and then she and Sasuke went after him. A few hours later, Sasuke decided to take a break. In that time, they had only defeated one more team, which was made up of genjutsu experts from a megacure. Naruto and Sakura were quick to refill their chakra and heal, while Sasuke sat down to eat and drink. "Okay, we should get moving," said Sasuke. "Toward the tower? Are you going to the tower?" Naruto asked, thinking that Sasuke wouldn't go to the tower until the last possible moment. "I told you there were more enemies out here," he replied easily. "We have 5 days, there's no rush to get to the tower. And if the crazy lady lied, what if we only have 2 days? Then it's too bad, but we'll stay here as long as there are people to fight." Sakura said, "This is stupid, and you're being selfish. This might not matter to you, but Naruto and I care a lot about it." "I told you I don't care," he said. Naruto would have kept talking, but a sudden rise in killing intent made him stop. He pushed Sakura out of the way just in time to avoid a giant ball of wind, but he took the brunt of it, sending him flying out of control. Naruto landed roughly and bounced a few times before hitting a thick tree root and stopping. "Oh, that hurt," he moaned, taking his time to get up. His vision was a little blurry, and his ears were ringing. He had to shake his head a few times to get rid of the cobwebs and ringing, but once he did, he really wished he hadn't. Snake Summon LV30. Before he could do anything, the giant snake's mouth closed around him and ate him up. Naruto was not happy because he was being squeezed from all sides, and the slime that was dripping over him was probably the snake's stomach acid, which was burning his skin. Naruto tried to get a grip, but the surface was too slippery. As a result, it looked like he was going deeper and deeper into the snake's mouth. Naruto finally took a kunai out of its sheath and stuck it into the beast's stomach, stopping his descent into the beast's stomach. Naruto then pulled out a second kunai, charged it with chakra nagashi, and slashed at the snake with it, trying to cut his way out. Naruto had to hack at it for a while, but he finally made a hole big enough for him to crawl out of. When he did, he found a very angry giant snake waiting for him outside. Naruto jumped quickly to avoid getting hit by the snake, which was again trying to eat him. "Eat me once, and shame on you. Eat me twice, and shame on me." Naruto used Doden Teppodama no Jutsu several times, aiming for the snake's face and eyes to slow it down if nothing else. Unfortunately, it had a thick hide, so the mud balls didn't hurt it much. However, the mud did make it hard for it to see, which did slow it down a little bit. Naruto still had to move quickly to avoid the snake's quick and mostly accurate attacks. Naruto kept attacking the snake with different moves, but he wasn't doing enough damage to even slow it down. Naruto threw a shrapnel kunai into the snake's open mouth because he thought the snake's insides might be weaker than its skin. The explosion in the mouth wasn't as loud as it could have been, but it was still enough to make the snake fall. It was in pain and bled from the mouth for a moment before suddenly disappearing in a big puff of smoke. At that point, Naruto would have been happy to sit down and rest, but he needed to find his team. Someone attacked them, and a strong person used that wind jutsu to keep them apart. The fact that the person who did it also called up a snake to keep Naruto busy made him worry even more, since summoning contracts were hard to come by. Naruto watched Sakura's health and status bar, which seemed to be full so far. When it suddenly went below half, he became very worried and sped up his travel. When Naruto finally got there, he looked at the enemy and his team for a moment. Even though Sasuke was doing his best to stop the enemy shinobi, it was clear that they were just playing with him. Sakura was out of her mind and hanging from a nearby tree branch. Naruto could see that one side of her face was covered in blood, but the blood seemed to be drying up and not getting worse. Naruto looked at the shinobi who were trying to fight them. It was Orochimaru, the guy who had a level that was way too high. Naruto knew that they had no chance of beating him, but maybe they could get away. "And what are you planning?" a voice asked from behind him. Naruto quickly turned around, put chakra into his kunai, and cut the head off of whoever had sneaked up on him. It was another Orochimaru, but this one seemed to turn into a pile of mud and dirt. Naruto moved quickly when he was attacked by two more Orochimaru, who stopped him from getting to Sasuke or Sakura. "I must say, I'm surprised you've lasted this long," Orochimaru said as a compliment. "You were dead last, so I thought you would be dead first." Naruto growled, "I'm not so easy to kill," as he tried to figure out what was going on. He didn't have much time to think before Orochimaru attacked. Naruto had to move quickly to avoid the attacks that were coming at him. Even though it was made of mud, Orochimaru was faster and stronger. Even worse was that there were two of them. Naruto avoided a roundhouse kick and, to his own surprise, was able to hit the clone with an explosive tag. Naruto put on a clone of himself and set off a bomb, which killed both the mud clone and his own clone. Now Naruto only had one clone left, and it didn't look like it wanted to play with him anymore. Naruto was quickly running out of things to do in chakra. He made clones as fast as he could, but they were being killed off just as fast. He was getting more and more desperate to get himself and his team out of there, but Orochimaru wouldn't let him. Then, out of the corner of Naruto's eye, he saw something. A small snake was slithering toward Sakura from the branch she was hanging from. Naruto felt the familiar rush of energy that came with Kyuubi's chakra. This energy healed him, gave him more chakra, and made him angry. Naruto put as much chakra as he could into his speed skills and went out of sight. Naruto landed next to Sakura, and his kunai was already cutting the snake in half. Naruto turned around and saw that the last mud clone was breaking up. Naruto refocused on Orochimaru. The man still made fun of Sasuke and teased him. Not even a little bit. He went away again, and when he came back, it was to try to kill the man by cutting off his head, which Orochimaru easily avoided. When the interruption happened, Orochimaru frowned and punched Naruto in the stomach as hard as he could. When the Naruto he hit burst into smoke, his frown got even worse. Then he felt a few blades go into his back. When the man laughed after being stabbed, Naruto thought the fight was over. Naruto had to move fast because the person he had stabbed turned back into mud. He didn't move fast enough, and a nice slice cut right through his coat and into his ribs, doing a lot of damage and leaving a poison behind. Naruto could feel that the Kyuubi's chakra was trying to fight it off, but whatever it was strong. It also took Naruto's attention away, so he didn't see the roundhouse kick coming at him fast until it was too late. Naruto hit hard into the trunk of one of the big trees that were all around him. He didn't get hurt too badly, but it definitely threw him off. Orochimaru seemed to have had enough of the fight because Naruto could just barely see Orochimaru's neck getting longer and his teeth sinking into Sasuke's neck. Sasuke then screamed in pain. Naruto saw Orochimaru talk to Sasuke, but he couldn't understand what was being said. Naruto woke up just in time to see Sasuke start to fall. He jumped over the distance and caught Sasuke with one arm. When he landed, his feet stuck to the trunk of a big tree. He turned around to see if Orochimaru was following him, but the man was gone. Naruto climbed back up the tree and put Sasuke next to Sakura. Then he fell back against the tree and slid down to sit, facing his teammates who were already out. He could feel the last bits of Kyuubi's chakra leaving his body, and as they did, he started to feel tired. The goal has been reached. Quest alert. Stage 2 of the Chunin selection exam. Finish the second part of the Chunin selection exam without failing. Objectives. Get an Earth Scroll and a Heaven Scroll. You have 5 days to get to the center tower. Make it through Orochimaru's attack. Goals for extras. Acquire an extra Heaven Scroll. Award for completion. 100,000 Express. 50,000 Express per bonus objective. Completion failure. 10,000 Express. Death or the end of the Chunin exam. Naruto only let himself rest for a short time. When he got back to his feet, he put a few healing tags on both Sakura and Sasuke to at least keep them from getting worse. Then he made a few copies of himself to help his team. Now, his only goal was to get them to the tower as quickly as possible so that they could get medical help. Naruto thanked whichever kami there were for letting him get to the tower without any trouble. It took several hours to get across the land, but it was worth the effort. Once inside the tower's entrance, Naruto put Sakura and Sasuke down and took the time to heal both of them properly. Sakura actually woke up while she was still getting better. She asked, "What happened?" as she winced from sitting up too quickly. "A guy named Orochimaru just kicked our asses," Naruto said as he continued to beat Sakura. "Is he dead?" she asked while Naruto kept using tags to heal her. "No, he bit Sasuke and then disappeared. If he hadn't left, I'm sure he would have killed me and you both." "What do you think about Sasuke?" "Like I said, he bit him and ran away. I don't know what he did to Sasuke, but he has a terrible fever even though I healed him." Sakura nodded, then pushed Sasuke up so she could look at him. "Did you see this?" Sakura asked, pointing to where Sasuke had been bit on the shoulder. "No, that wasn't there before," Naruto said, and his observe turned on, making a red warning light flash. 10 no Juin. The Cursed Seal of Heaven gives its owner more chakra and physical power, but only if they can pay a very high price and make it through the bonding process. It slowly destroys the sanity of the person who has it and makes them as addicted to it as the strongest opiate. "That is a nasty piece of fucking work," Naruto said, shivering a little. Sakura asked, "What is it?" Naruto told Sakura what he knew about it, which made her worried. "Look, we're in the tower now, and we just need to get some help, but all the doors are locked," Naruto said. Sakura took a look at the whole room. "Did you even bother to read the riddle?" "That was a riddle? How in the hell was I supposed to know that?" "Give me the scrolls," Sakura said impatiently, putting out her hand. Naruto took the scrolls they had gotten out of his bag and gave them to Sakura. Sakura then opened the Earth Scroll and one of the Heaven Scrolls at the same time and threw them on the ground in front of them. "Yo, Kakashi said when the smoke was gone. You got here really fast. Sensei, Sasuke is in a lot of trouble, Naruto said right away. Kakashi moved around the genin with ease and then got down on one knee to look at Sasuke. His eyes went right to the cursed seal. You need to tell me about everything that happened in that forest. Sakura quickly explained what happened during the fight with Orochimaru. Kakashi asked, and you didn't see him before the exam started? I did, but I thought he might have been another plant, like in the first test, or something else. That Kabuto guy was full of questions, so I thought maybe it was a trick. The name Orochimaru didn't sound familiar to you? I thought I'd heard it somewhere before, but I couldn't remember where. You idiot, Sakura almost yelled. Orochimaru is a wanted criminal. He was one of the Sannin, and he's in S class. Naruto felt his face go pale as the blood left it. Oh crap, I forgot. If I had remembered, I could have told the proctor before the exam even started and avoided all of this. Don't worry about it, Kakashi told him. You did the best you could in the situation. At least you knew something was up, and you were smart enough to get your team here as quickly as you could once they were both down. Even though Kakashi tried to make him feel better, the guilt he was feeling at the time didn't go away. He said, I need a bingo book, out of the blue. I can't make a mistake like this ever again. We'll get you one after the exam, Kakashi said as he picked up Sasuke and carried the limp and feverish boy. Follow me, we're done with this part of the test for now. Bonus for finishing, 50,000 express. 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 When the quest is done, you get 100,000 express. Quest alert. Stage 2 of the Chunin selection exam. Finish the second part of the Chunin selection exam without failing. Objectives. Get an Earth Scroll and a Heaven Scroll. You have 5 days to get to the center tower. Make it through Orochimaru's attack. Find the answer to the Heaven and Earth riddle to finish the second part of the exam. Goals for extras. You have less than 24 hours to get to the center tower. You have less than 48 hours to get to the center tower. You have less than 72 hours to get to the central tower. You have less than 96 hours to get to the center tower. Acquire an extra Heaven Scroll. Award for completion, 100,000 express. 50,000 express per bonus objective. Completion failure, 10,000 express. Death or the end of the Chunin exam. Congratulations. Your level has gone up 1. The level of your friend Sakura has gone up by 1. Naruto shut down the message windows and went into the building with his sensei and Sakura. Dorms up and to the right, I'll be taking Sasuke for treatment. You have a few days to recover here in the tower. That said, don't leave the tower for any reason, you won't be able to get back in without 2 more scrolls, Kakashi said before he and Sasuke disappeared. That sucked, Naruto said. Yeah, I'm sorry that I yelled at you. Naruto said, it's okay, it was stupid of me to miss that. I can't believe we made it through that. Thanks in no small part to you, Sakura said with her head a little bit down. He was so strong. I tried to slow him down with a genjutsu, but it didn't even work. He just shrugged it off like it was nothing, and then he hit me, just once. That was all it took to knock me out of the fight. He backhanded me, and I vaguely remember bouncing off the tree trunk before everything went dark. Naruto tried to comfort Sakura by giving her an awkward one-armed hug. It seemed to help her calm down a little. She asked, what happened to you anyway? Wasn't that person Orochimaru the white snake? Yeah. Naruto tried to make her feel better by telling her, he is known for his contract with snakes to summon them. I met one of them. It was kinda big. It turned me into a small snack. It was not cool. Sakura tried not to laugh when she thought about Naruto getting eaten by a big snake, but she couldn't help it. It's not that funny, I'm sure I still smell like a snake, he said, and when he gave himself a small sniff, he was horrified by the awful smell. You really do smell awful, said Sakura, who didn't move to break the awkward hug. Right, Naruto said, pulling away from the hug. I'm going to find the showers and maybe a place to do laundry. Good luck with that, I'm going to go to sleep. Naruto gave her a small wave and then went off to find a place to take a shower. He didn't think he would meet Kiba on the way. Damn dude, you fucking stink, the boy whimpered, putting his hands over his face and nose. Did you get eaten by a giant snake out there? I didn't think so. Sorry, Kiba said, but he wouldn't let go of his nose to protect his sensitive sense of smell. When did you guys get here? About an hour ago, did you? Maybe 20 minutes ago, were you the first one to arrive? No, that Suna team you warned us about got here first. One of the Chunin said they broke the previous record by like 10 hours. Told you they were dangerous, Naruto said. You were right, Kiba said, wincing as he said it. Look, about before. I'm sorry I was such a dick about that. You were right to warn us. We saw him in the forest. He beat this team from Rain without lifting a finger. Hell, he didn't just beat them, he butchered them like it was nothing. It was messed up. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Did he let you go without putting up a fight? I think so. The guy looked right at where we were hiding and then just walked away. Naruto feared that he might have to deal with that guy during the exams. But since he was a Jinchuriki, it probably wouldn't be a surprise if it came down to it. Anyway, do you know where the showers are? Yeah, I'll show you the way, because you really need it. Again, a big snake ate it. Kiba couldn't help but laugh at how bad things were for Naruto. Have a good laugh, hairball. Status. Name: Uzumaki Naruto. The Gamer's Class. Genin, plus 10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level: LV28 next level, 3.12%. Belongs to Konoha. HP: 4822 4820 seconds. CP: 3609 3609. STR: 61, 31.10, equals 92.10. VIT: 56, 146.20, equals 482.20. Dex: 61, 46.13, equals 107.13. Int: 63, 17.88, equals 360.88. WIS: 56, 40.04, equals 96.04. Luck: Def: 239, 59.75, equals 298.75. SPD: 41, 78.27, equals 119.27. Status: Uzumaki, plus 10, Vit, plus 10, Int, plus 50% experience to Fuinjutsu. Skill: Kyuubi Jinchuriki, plus 100 HP and plus 100 CP per level. Inspirational Leader, plus 25% to any team's experience gain. Uzumaki Naruto is the last person to graduate this year. He got a low grade because he couldn't make a basic bunshin. After the test, Naruto showed his worth by stopping a traitor and learning 2A rank Kinjutsu. And finally, he has some answers about his past, but there are still some questions. Who are his parents? What did the Kyuubi do to get away? Point. 20. Ryo. 624,000. Beginner Kage no Uzuken Taijutsu, passive, LV max. Uzuken is the style of taijutsu that has always been used by the Uzumaki clan. It uses a hit-and-run strategy, attacking from many different directions and angles to make its opponents confused and disoriented. Often used very well with weapons. Kage Bunshin is an important part of Kageken. It was made so that the user and his clones can strike at the same time and close in on their opponent to do damage and avoid damage at the same time. Since Kage Bunshin uses a lot of chakra, it is hard to learn but very useful. The combination of the two styles has made something new and very dangerous for anyone who is dumb enough to face a master of such a style. Upgrading requires Intermediate Kageken Taijutsu and Intermediate Uzuken Taijutsu. Passively adds 10% to STR. Passively ups VIT by 20%. Passively, Dex goes up 20%. Chakra Nagashi, active, LV29 EXP 44.44% carbon monophosphide, 14 every 5 seconds. By putting chakra into weapons, they can become stronger and do more damage. Damage from attacks goes up by 84%, and the chance of getting a critical hit goes up by 50%. Damages weapons that aren't made to carry chakra. Chakra Speed, active, passive, LV26 Express, 13.24% carbon monophosphide, 10 every 5 seconds. The chakra that flows through your body has been focused on your muscles, making you faster and more agile. If you use a little more chakra, you can move even faster, but be careful not to hurt your muscles. Passively adds 13% to Dex. Passively ups SPD by 33%. Each activation gives an extra 1% speed. When used more than 26 times at once, you take an extra 100 damage every 5 seconds. You've used a bed to sleep. 75% of your HP and CP are back. Even though it wasn't his own bed, Naruto was glad to get a full night's sleep. The last 24 hours were hard. Naruto was still thinking about what he could have done differently during the fight with Orochimaru. Naruto shook off the bad memory and looked around the room he and Sakura shared for the night. Her bed was empty, and the third bed was not used, which shows that Sasuke was still getting care if he made it through the night. Naruto rolled off the cot he was sleeping on, stood up straight, and stretched his arms over his head. He was trying to work out any kinks from his sleep, but thanks to his gamer's body, there were never any. He quickly checked to see if his clothes from the night before were dry. Since there were no laundry facilities in the tower, he had to take a shower with them on to wash them. Even though the clothes were still a little bit wet, they were dry enough for him. After getting dressed, Naruto went into the tower to find food because his stomach was growling. He finally smelled something good, so he followed his nose to the small dining hall. Sakura pointed him to a table full of Konoha genin, specifically the new ones. "Good morning, everyone," Naruto said as he sat down with the group. "Morning," said Sakura, and the other genin replied with greetings and grumbles. Ino looked anxiously toward the door and asked, "Where's Sasuke-kun?" "You didn't tell them?" asked Naruto, looking to Sakura. Sakura grimaced. "I didn't know what to really say." "What happened to Sasuke-kun?" asked Ino. "We were attacked in the forest," Naruto said. "Is he?" Ino couldn't finish the question. "I don't know. As soon as we got to the tower, Kakashi-sensei took him to get treated," Naruto said, being careful not to lie but also not to tell everything. He wasn't sure what he was allowed to say, so for now he would try to say as little as possible about it. Even though Ino seemed to let out a small sigh of relief, she was still worried. "Is it hard for you guys to get here?" Naruto asked Shikamaru as he looked at him. "No, not really. The first group we ran into had the scroll we needed. After that, it was just a matter of getting here, which was a bit harder because we had to avoid a series of ambushes. We didn't get here until about 3 a.m. this morning." "Yeah, we got in just after midnight," Sakura said. "So, what's the plan for today?" asked Kiba, who was leaning back in his chair and putting his feet up on the table. "I'm going to train for a little bit," Naruto said. "On the way here, I saw a big room that should be big enough for training. This is a problem, so I guess I'll join you. It wouldn't be a bad idea to make good use of this time." "Hey, I could use a good fight," Kiba said with a feral grin. Hinata stutteringly asked, "Can I come?" "Of course you can," Naruto said to the girl with a big smile. When Hinata passed out, the smile went away quickly. What in the hell? Why does she keep doing that? Everyone in the group of genin sighed, but no one was willing to answer him. He was confused by their answer, so he asked, "What?" "Don't worry about it," Ino said. "Let's just eat and go train," they said. Naruto frowned, but he did what was asked of him and got up to get some food from the small but tasty spread. The rest of breakfast went smoothly and was full of laughter. When they were done, all 8 newcomers left at the same time. The room Naruto found was big, actually very big. On each side, there were 2 balconies that looked out over the tiled floor. At the far end of the room was a statue of hands making the shinobi seal of confrontation, and in its shadow was a throne. Kiba asked, "I wonder what this room is used for." Shikamaru guessed that the Hokage sits there and watches the fights to see how they go. Spectators or other judges might watch from the balcony above. "Anyway, it's time to train," Naruto said, taking a look around the room. Naruto smiled and walked up one of the walls below the balconies. Naruto walked and walked until he was upside down. "Wow, you're so special, you can walk up walls." Kiba laughed at his own joke. Naruto stared at him for a moment before talking about why he was up there. He had to get extra stat points. When Naruto did his first hanging sit-up, people stopped looking at him funny. When you train 2 different skills in the same exercise, your whiz goes up by 1. Naruto smiled and was glad to hear that, but he kept doing the exercise. He didn't expect to see Kiba doing the same exercise as him. He stopped for a moment to see what was going on. Shikamaru ran from one end of the room to the other as fast as he could. Hinata was doing some kind of kata that he didn't know. Sakura and Ino were running up and down the stairs to the balcony to see who could beat the other. Choji and Shino were running up and down the other balcony stairs on the other side of the room, but there was no competition between them. "Hey, if you don't pay attention, I'm going to beat you," Kiba told Naruto to get his attention. "Beat me? For what?" The who can do the most hanging sit-ups challenge," he said quickly, his voice slightly shaking. "You just made that up," Naruto told him as he narrowed his eyes and gave him a mean look. "So?" Naruto waited a minute, then gave a shrug. Kiba was right. It didn't matter if he made it up. All he had to do was win and put the dog to sleep for good. The boys wanted to beat each other, so Naruto kept going even after he got his 2 points for strength. He didn't expect to get another stat point, but this time for vitality. It made Naruto even more determined to keep going and get that last point of energy, especially if he could beat Kiba along the way. "Troublesome," said Shikamaru as he looked at the two. "Hey, if you two will stop being so dumb, I have a suggestion." They both said, "But I'm winning," at the same time. "Ha, as if," the same person said. Before either of them could say anything else, Sakura jumped up and grabbed each of their ears, making them let go of the balcony ceiling. "Ow, Sakura-chan," Naruto moaned as he rubbed his sore ear. "So, I had a training idea," Shikamaru said before anyone else could complain or argue. During a break in the action, Choji asked Shikamaru, "What do you have for us?" He was eating a bag of chips at the time. He answered, "Shinobi tag," in a serious way. Kiba let out a barking laugh. "What are we for?" Ino asked with her arms crossed in a glare at him. Sakura asked, "Why tag?" She seemed to be thinking about what he said. "Dexterity training," said Shikamaru. "We can all improve our dexterity by playing shinobi tag. You can only use chakra speed and tree climbing. Fighting is not allowed. This has to be about control and finesse." When Kiba heard the word finesse, he made a rude noise. "Yes, Kiba, I did say finesse, which means to be careful and not break everything in your way," Shikamaru said. "As for the rest of the rules, once you tag someone, you're out until the next round. Whoever lasts the longest will be it to start the next round. Do you have any questions?" This may seem childish, but it makes the most sense for our training as shinobi. Improving our dexterity and speed increases our chances of survival. However, wouldn't we benefit more from having two of us be it each round? This would make the rounds go faster and force us to pay more attention to who gets eliminated and who replaces them. "I like it," said Naruto, grinning. Shino's idea was something he liked a lot. "That's hard, he's right, it would be better," Shikamaru said. "It will be a lot more work, but it will be worth it. Who wants to go first?" Hinata's voice was soft, nervous, and gentle all at the same time when she said, "I will." "Me too," said Naruto, grinning. This time, he would go first. With how fast he thought this would go, being the first one out wasn't much a loss. "Okay, then start," Shikamaru said as he jumped away and picked up speed. "Let's get them, Hinata." Naruto yelled, and he ran after Kiba right away. Hinata nervously nodded and then started her own chase, but her target was Sakura. The genin kept playing for a few hours, even after everyone on Naruto's team had gotten their bonus stat points. It turned out to be a lot of fun and didn't require much skill. When it was almost time for dinner, the group called it quits and went back to the dining hall to eat. They were surprised to see their sensei and a few other teams there. Sakura ran to Kakashi to find out what was going on with Sasuke, and Naruto reluctantly went with her. "So? He'll live," said Kakashi. "That seal put a lot of stress on his body, but he made it through. He needs a few more days of rest before he comes back to you." Sakura let out a sigh of relief. "That's good," she said. "Is he mentally stable?" Naruto asked, and Sakura gave him a bit of a dirty look. "What?" He was totally off his rocker in that forest. He wasn't crazy, but he seemed like he had something to prove. "I don't like what he did or the reason he gave us, but I can kind of see what he was going through." Naruto made a face at her. Even though he didn't like what she said, he could see what she meant. Since the beginning of the first exam, when Atonin made him feel bad, and then with the scroll before the beginning of the second. He could see why Sasuke might have felt like he had something to prove. "Okay, I'll take that for now, but that seal is supposed to mess with his mind, right?" "And how do you know that?" Kakashi asked, putting down his book to look at Naruto in the eyes. My, observe, skill told me about the seal on him, and it probably helped that I know a lot about sealing now. I see, Kakashi said, humming to himself. I guess I'll have to keep an eye on him then. Thanks for letting me know. Now, why don't we sit down and have something to eat? Naruto ate with the genin and their senseis. The giant green thing that was Tenten's sensei also joined them. You've used a bed to sleep. 75% of your HP and CP are back. On the last day of the second stage, Naruto and the other new students sat with their senseis in the dining hall. They were basically waiting on pins and needles for the timer to hit 0 so they could see if any other teams made it through. So far, there have been 5 Konoha teams, 1 Auto team, and 1 Suna team. Since so many teams signed up, it was strange that so few of them had made it this far in the competition. Naruto looked at the clock again and asked, is it just me, or is this last hour miserable? HN, grunted Sasuke. The boy had been given back to them that morning. He looked like himself, which was not friendly. He gave Naruto a look of disdain, but other than grunting, he hadn't really said anything to him. Use our words, Sasuke, said Kakashi, who was reading his little orange book with his nose in it. Sasuke scowled at the man for a moment before turning his back on him and crossing his arms. He was clearly upset, but he didn't want to talk about why. Naruto looked at Sasuke for a while to try to figure out what was bothering him. He finally just used, observe, because he didn't like Sasuke's stupid Sharingan status change, which was way too strong. Name: Uchiha Sasuke. Genin, plus 10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level: LV27 next level, 44.14%. Belongs to Konoha. HP: 950/950ths. CP: 2350/2350ths. STR: 55. VIT: 95. Dex: 254. Int: 235. Wis: 172. Luck: 1. Def: 75. SPD: 203. Status: Double Tomo Sharingan, plus 7, Dex, plus 8, Int, plus 5, Wis per level, Avenger, plus 25% to all stats when attacking Uchiha Itachi, Firebug, Kaden Jutsu costs 15% less, does 10% more damage. Sasuke Uchiha is the last loyal member of the infamous Uchiha clan to still be alive. They are known for their Sharingan Dujutsu, which has helped them do well as shinobi. His past is so clouded by the pain and suffering of losing his family that revenge is all he has left. When the doors opened, another team, this one from Kusagakure, came in. This stopped the review. 2 boys led the way. They were both in bad shape. One of them was bleeding heavily from the shoulder and looked like he was about to pass out from losing so much blood. The other boy limped and wore a sling on his arm. Naruto was most interested in the last person who came in. She had red hair, red eyes, and claw marks on her face that were bloody but looked like they were already healing. She looked a bit haunted and tired, but the fact that she'd made it this far showed how much she could do. Even so, there was one thing that caught his eye more than anything else. Uzumaki Karen LV24. Naruto blinked a few times to make sure what he saw was right. He got up and walked right up to her, right in her face. Karen stepped back a little bit at once. Her 2 teammates tried to protect her, but they didn't do a very good job. They took one step toward her and then collapsed on one of the benches. Naruto asked, "What's your name?" "Karen," she said, stuttering a bit out of nerves. "Your whole name?" he asked to be clear. She answered, "Just Karen. I don't have a family name." Naruto thought, as he looked at the girl in front of him. What's going on? Naruto looked at her for a little while longer before he decided to use, observe, on her. Name: Uzumaki Karen. Genin, plus 10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level: LV24 next level, 17.41%. Belongs to Konoha. HP: 1110/1110. CP: 950/950ths. STR: 28. VIT: 111. Dex: 35. Int: 95. Wis. 390. Luck. 11. Def. 100. SPD. 36. Status. Uzumaki plus 10 Vit, plus 10 Int, plus 50% experience to Fuinjutsu. Skill. Perfect Control, plus 15 Wis per level. All jutsu cost 50% less. Medic. Minus 25% cost to Iryojutsu, plus 25% healing to Iryojutsu. Uzumaki Karen is an outcast in Kusagakure, where she lives. When she was young, her parents were killed in front of her. She was taken away. She doesn't care about the people who took her. All she really wants is to be with her family and feel like she belongs. If only she knew who her family was and where to find them. Naruto hummed again, which made the girl feel a little bit worse. She was averagely strong, had good control over her chakra, and had enough HP and CP. Just tell me what you want already, Karen finally said. Cousin, we have a lot to talk about, Naruto said as he moved to stand next to her, put his arm around her, and led her to the table where the rest of his team was sitting. Cousin? She yelled out in surprise. Yes, cousin, Naruto said, giving her the friendliest smile he could. How do you know? Your name is Uzumaki Karen, you have the Uzumaki red hair. Is that all? Only my hair? Naruto quickly said, well, I have another way, but it's a little strange and you probably won't believe me, but I swear it's true. We can even do tests or whatever. Naruto, who's your new friend? Asked Kakashi, noticing that his book was missing. This is Uzumaki Karen, was his answer. I'm not sure if I'm an Uzumaki or whatever, Karen said. Her face showed that she wanted to believe, but was scared to. Kakashi studied her. You look like an Uzumaki for sure. You can get tested if you want to be sure. I don't think your teammates like how friendly you are with us right now. Karen turned around and looked at her team. One of them finally fell asleep, and the other was staring at her from across an open table. If it's true, and I'm not saying it is, but if it is, I need to know. But you have to know that Kusa won't like it. We'll deal with that when the time comes, Kakashi said. Naruto said, for now, you should sit down and rest. This stage is almost over. This is my team. Sasuke is the sad-looking one, and this is Sakura. Nice to meet you, Sakura was the first to say. Sasuke didn't even turn to look. Nice to meet you, too, Karen answered. Is he crazy? Does he often do things like this? He's crazy, but most shinobi are. I'm sure he's telling the truth about this, because I've known Naruto long enough to know that he wouldn't lie about something like this. I'm so not lying, Naruto said. Maybe not, but it doesn't hurt to make sure, Karen said as she looked at Naruto a little closer. So, you said Uzumaki are known for their red hair, so why isn't yours red? I don't know. My dad was probably blonde, Naruto said with a shrug. But I know for certain that my mom was an Uzumaki. Karen asked, you don't know? Orphan, he said quickly in response. Me, too, she said with a sad look. Anko shouted to everyone in the room, the Hokage will be talking to you all soon, so please follow me now. This stopped everyone from talking. Karen, you dumb girl, help me carry Takashi, said Karen's only teammate who was awake. Karen gave him a mean look. Go help him, we'll have more time to talk later, Naruto said. Karen frowned, but she nodded to show that she agreed. Slowly, the 8 teams moved through the tower to the large assembly room, which was the same room Naruto and the other newcomers had been training in for the past week. When they got inside, they all stood in a line facing the throne. It didn't take long for the old man to walk into the room and take a seat. Hello, everyone, and congrats on making it this far. Considering the size and scope of this competition, it's amazing that you've made it this far. This trial is meant to test you both physically and mentally, to push you to the limit and beyond if you are strong enough to do so. In this substitute for war, you represent the strength of your villages, and that strength will be shown to daimos and wealthy clients in a month. If I may, Hokage-sama, said a Junin who was standing behind the throne. The man stopped a few times to cough. He did not look good at all. Of course, go ahead, the old man said, giving the man a sign to go ahead. My name is Gecko Hayate, and I'm the judge for the third part of the Chunin selection exam. However, Hokage-sama has said that there are too many candidates, so we'll have a preliminary round now. Anyone who can't keep going can leave now. I'm afraid the forest just took too much out of me, Kabuto said. He was the first to raise his hand. When Naruto looked at him, he could see that he wasn't hurt at all and was full of chakra. So why was the man leaving, and even worse, why couldn't he see anything when he looked at the man with observe? Kabuto is mysterious, as the hidden quest that is still in his quest log says. The one thing he didn't miss was how Ibiki, Anko, and even the Hokage looked when Kabuto gave up. Yukushi Kabuto has withdrawn, Hayate added. Obugo Takashi is unable to continue and has been disqualified, said Hayate as he watched the unconscious boy slowly bleed out. The other Kusa shinobi frowned and slowly lifted his one good arm. I'm also unable to continue. Shugura Fukimo has withdrawn, Hayate said. Karen looked unsure for a moment, but then she made up her mind to keep going. No one else moved a muscle, and no one wanted to quit the exam now. If no one else wants to drop out, go up to the balcony. The electronic board will show the names of 2 people, and those 2 will fight until only one of you is left. Is killing permitted? Asked Neji, glaring at Hinata. It's allowed, but it's not a good idea, Hayate said. He didn't answer the question, he just coughed again. Since there were no more questions, everyone slowly moved up to either balcony in teams. Karen even went with her team, even though it was clear she didn't like them very much. Naruto didn't get his next mission until he was standing on a balcony. Quest alert. Stage 2.5 of the Chunin selection exam. Complete the first part of the Chunin selection exam without failing. Objectives. Beat the other person. Goals for extras. Award for completion. 100,000 express. 50,000 express per bonus objective. Completion failure. 10,000 express. The end of the Chunin exam. As soon as Naruto agreed to do the job, the electric board came to life and gave him 2 names. Higurashi Tenten vs. Inuzuka Kiba. Okay, Akamaru, we're up first. Yelled Kiba as he jumped off the balcony and landed in a crouch. Naruto watched Tenten for a moment. It had been a while since the last time they fought. Name: Higurashi Tenten. Genin, plus 10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level: LV27 next level, 21.17%. Belongs to Konoha. HP: 1880-1880. CP: 450-450ths. STR: 40. VIT: 80. Dex: 203. Int: 45. Wis: 40. Luck: 10. Def: 350. SPD: 60. Status: Intermediate Weapons Mistress, plus 4 Dex and plus 40 HP per level, plus 40% damage to all Bukajutsu skills. Smithy: 15% effectiveness to blacksmithing skill, plus 25% experience gained to blacksmithing skill. Real Kunoichi, plus 5 to all stats. Higurashi Tenten is a real kunoichi who takes his job very seriously. She takes being a blacksmith just as seriously as she does being a kunoichi. After her mother didn't come back from a mission, her father taught her both skills from a young age. She has promised that she will be as strong and skilled as any other shinobi. Naruto would have whistled to show his appreciation, but he had a strange feeling that he shouldn't. This probably saved him from pain and suffering at the hands of a righteous woman. Sakura asked, "Does Kiba even have a chance?" "I doubt it," Naruto said, keeping his eyes on the fight that was about to start. Kiba is faster than her, but she is far more skilled, agile, and has a lot more stamina than he does. Sakura agreed and turned her attention to the fight that was about to happen. Kiba stood across from Tenten and waited for the Junin to start the fight. He smirked confidently and moved with a wild strut as he waited. Tenten looked at Kiba with eyes that seemed to see right through him. "Hajime," Hayate said softly, straining to be heard by everyone in the room. Kiba rushed toward Tenten right away, swinging a punch wildly toward her head. Tenten ducked just enough before shooting forward under the punch, past Kiba's body, and into his chest with her knee, which came up late. Kiba let out a woof sound as his lungs quickly emptied of air. Even though he was in a lot of pain, he was still able to dive away from her in the rain of fast-flying kunai and shuriken that were all aimed at him. When he saw that Akamaru had been able to stay on his master's head the whole time, Naruto was surprised. Kiba's first move, on the other hand, didn't impress him as much. It was rash and not well thought out, if it was thought out at all. Kiba quickly caught his breath while Akamaru barked and growled. Tenten was apparently feeling generous. Done underestimating me? Hey, I guess so, Kiba said as he took Akamaru off his head and set him down on the ground. Kiba slipped something into Akamaru's mouth just as Naruto was about to catch it. After that, there was a low crunching sound. Akamaru's fur turned bright red, almost orange, after he had just eaten something. Then Kiba quickly made a few hand seals and said, Shikyaku no Jutsu. Naruto was confused by what Kiba had done. All of a sudden, he could see low flame-like puffs of chakra coming off of his body. He really wanted to watch the technique to figure out what it was, but he didn't think it would really work. Shikyaku no Jutsu, active, LV74 Express, 13.43%, 10 every 5 seconds. This technique speeds up the user's instincts and reflexes to fight like an animal. By wrapping their whole body in chakra and moving on all fours, they can move and react like a wild animal, which is very quickly. Passively makes Dex 19% better. Passively ups SPD by 19%. When active, SPD goes up by 100%. When active, Dex gets an extra 100%. That S*** is stupid and way too strong, Naruto grumbled. What? What does it do? Sakura asked, not taking her eyes off the fight. Doubles his speed and dexterity, he said. What? Sakura was about to scream. That's not right. Yes, but he can't do it for very long, maybe 3 minutes. How would you know that? Sasuke asked, pointing his Sharingan at Kiba and looking at him closely. Just a guess, Naruto said in an unconvincing way. He didn't really have any other way to explain it. HN, said Sasuke, who didn't believe him but didn't care much either way because he would soon see for himself. Akamaru, now! Shouted Kiba as his plan started to work. Jujin Bunshin no Jutsu, Kiba and Akamaru howled together. A moment later, the small puppy changed into a copy of Kiba. Ho, you might be a challenge after all, Tenten said with a small smile. She then took out a quarterstaff and showed off for the judges by twirling it around a few times. Should we start? Kiba grinned from where he was crouched, and he and Akamaru both moved in a blur in the opposite direction. They moved quickly and all of a sudden attacked Tenten from both sides at the same time. Tenten dodged the high attack and used her staff to block the low attack. The one who got hit by her staff let out a painful yelp. She wasn't ready for the high Kiba to come at her with its long claws, which it did with a sweeping motion. One of its claws hit her forearm, leaving 4 bloody lines a few inches long. Kiba laughed when he got hit, but then he saw a flash of light and felt the staff hit the side of his head pretty hard. The boy rolled around on the tiled floor a few times, feeling confused and dazed. The girl hit the mark. Akamaru, on the other hand, hit harder and faster, keeping Tenten on her heels as she quickly moved away from the angry dog. Tenten finally moved away from them and put her staff away because fighting close up was not good for her. Instead, she started throwing kunai at the clone quickly, which made him run away. Even Akamaru had gotten a few nips from her. Kiba moaned as he got back up, and he had to shake his head a few times because that hit hurt a lot. He looked to see if Akamaru was running away from the attack by the weapon mistress. His hand went into his pouch for a moment, then came out with 2 black balls. Akamaru, get ready boy. The clone let out a yip as it kept moving away from him. Kiba threw 2 orbs, one toward Tenten and the other toward the space between Akamaru and Tenten. Naruto was very interested in what was going on. Even though Kiba wasn't as strong as Tenten, he had a much better plan. Tenten was very good with her weapons, but Kiba and Akamaru were so fast and fierce that they made her weapons almost useless. Now, the big smoke bombs Kiba threw made it impossible for her to see anything. When Akamaru and Kiba both turned into flying tornadoes of destruction, things only got worse. When the smoke finally cleared, Tenten was on her knees, gasping for air and looking hurt from Kiba's drilling technique. When Naruto saw that her HP was going red, he frowned. He didn't think Kiba would even come close to beating her. She's done, Kiba said, as sweat ran down his face. Then Naruto saw that Kiba was almost out of chakra. If he used any more, he would run out of chakra and die. Tenten struggled to get back on her feet. She stood up straight for a moment before passing out backwards. The damage from the bleeding had finally knocked her out. The green thing that was her sensei caught her before she hit the tile. Hayate said, "The winner is Inuzuka Kiba." 3 minutes and 25 seconds, Sasuke said. That fits with what Naruto said would happen. It wasn't too wrong, Sakura said. It was a very surprising outcome, said Kakashi, whose book was missing for some reason. I really didn't think Kiba stood a chance, Naruto said. He just had a better plan, which is hard to believe coming from Kiba of all people. You're one to talk, Dobi, Sasuke said with a small smirk. Naruto was a little surprised and a little embarrassed by Sasuke's joke. He would have replied, but it was time for the next match. Hyuga Neji vs Sabaku Temari. Sasuke teased Naruto by asking, "So, who wins this one?" A taunt that Naruto accepted. Neji. 5,000 Ryo says Temari wins. Why don't you do what you say you're going to do? You're on, Naruto said with a greedy grin. You taking bets, Naruto? Asked Kiba as he walked slowly back to his group. I'll put 5,000 Ryo on Neji, said Kiba, not giving Naruto a chance to answer. 5,000 on Temari, jumped in Ino, glaring at Kiba. That's a problem, so I'll bet $5,000 on Neji. Choji held out a wad of cash and said, I'll put $5,000 on Neji if Shika thinks he will win. What is this not young thing? Guy asked, as she watched the number of bets grow quickly. 5,000 on Neji, Kakashi said, handing Naruto a stack of Ryo. Damn you, Kakashi, you and your hip attitude. Anyo, 5,000 on Neji Nissan, stuttered Hinata. Temari, Shino said, holding up his own stack of money. Naruto didn't know what was going on, but all of the genin pushed money at him at once. 5,000 on my sister, Konkuro even joined in. Through a special act, a special skill has been made. There are many different kinds of gambling. Bookmaking, LVL. One was made by taking bets on sports and other events. Betting. Active, LV 1 to 0% expired, Ryo. Making money by taking bets on life and death. This skill in the underworld can make you a lot of Ryo, but it could also cost you everything. You can now set odds, figure out payouts and get paid a commission. Add 1% to luck without doing anything. Asuma lit a cigarette and asked, what kind of odds are you giving on this? No odds on this one, Naruto said. The winning bet got an equal share of the payout. He didn't know where he got that answer, but he knew it was right because of the skill he found, made, or whatever you want to call it. If 10 people correctly bet that Neji would win and he 75,000 won Ryo, each winner would get back 7,500 Ryo. Neji then, said Asuma as he gave him some money. Does anyone else want to bet? Last call, betting is over as soon as the match starts, Naruto said, which got a lot of attention from the genin and the Junin sensei. When he looked down at the Hokage, he saw that the old man was laughing and shaking his head. When the last bet was made, Naruto had 100,000 won Ryo, of which 15,000 Ryo was his cut for making the bets in the first place. Hajime, Hayate finally said from below, and everyone in the room turned to watch the fight. But Naruto first watched the two fighters as they looked at each other. He looked at them too. Neji's long hair was tied back and kept in place very well. Not a single hair was out of place. He looked like he always had a frown on his face. He wore a plain cream jacket and black shorts, and his hands, fingers, and legs were wrapped in bandages. Temari was an interesting person. Her blonde hair was pulled back into 4 ponytails, which kept it in place and made her look stylish. She had a pretty good tan, which was to be expected since she lived in the desert. She wore a short white dress that showed off a lot of her legs, which Naruto knew she could use to draw attention away from something else. She also carried a big battle fan, which he pointed out with, observe. Suna battle fan. A big fan that the famous Wind Rider Corps of Suna uses. It can be used to improve futon jutsu, as a glider, or as a blunt weapon to cause pain. This makes it both valuable and dangerous. 75 to 100 damage. Plus 50% damage to futon jutsu. Then he used the skill, observe, on Temari. Name. Sabaku Temari. Genin, plus 10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level. LV 28 next level, 16.14%. Affiliation. Suna. HP. 820/820ths. CP. 1840/1840. STR. 37. VIT, 82. Dex, 171. Int, 184. Wis, 183. Luck, 9. Def, 100. SPD, 51. Status, Wind Rider, +5, Dex and +5, Int per level. Futon Jutsu costs -15% less and does 10% more damage. Strategist, +5, Wis per level. All skills gain 15% more experience. Diplomatic, all reputation gains are worth 5% more, and the barter skill is 5% better. Sabaku Temari is one of the Kage's 3 children. She is serious about being a kunoichi and hates being looked down on just because she is a woman. She is very smart for her age, but she has to be if she wants to get along with her brother, who is very crazy. Temari was definitely skilled, but Neji was a monster. The observe showed that he was the strongest Konoha genin for sure. Name: Hyuga Neji. Genin, +10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level: LV32 next level, 8.41%. HP, 1050-1050. CP, 2000-2000. STR, 45. VIT, 105. Dex, 365. Int, 200. Wis, 190. Luck, 1. Def, 155. SPD, 81. Status: Prodigy, +5, Int and +5, Wis per level. Advanced Byakugan, +10, Dex per level, +0.50 SPD per level. Ruthless, -20% to all reputation gains. Hyuga Neji is from the elite Hyuga clan, which is known for their dojutsu and their own style of taijutsu. He is very cold and doesn't care about anything. His fate is set and no one can change it, but he seems to fight it every day. But Naruto found out in the last fight that numbers don't mean anything. Still, Naruto thought Neji would win because, based on the numbers, he was much stronger than Temari. Before they attacked, the two only looked at each other for a moment longer. Neji jumped forward and quickly closed the distance between himself and Temari. One palm was already moving forward when it hit the steel frame of the girl's battle fan with a loud clang. After the Hyuga's first attack, Temari jumped back, and her fan sent out florets of razor-sharp winds that the boy easily dodged and then used to close in on her again. He attacked the girl with the fan without stopping or thinking twice. He didn't let her get away from him again. He was out of luck because she was good with that fan and often deflected or blocked his attacks. Still, he would eventually break through her defenses if she didn't find a way to fight back. When that happened, the Suna Kunoichi would be done for. She was sweating, and it was clear that her arms were getting tired from having to defend herself against the constant attack. She could see that if she didn't make some space between them soon, it would be game over. So she did something she shouldn't have. She ignored one of his blows and took a hit to her shoulder so she could land a clean blow on Neji. Neji grinned and felt like a winner when his attack went through without being blocked. But Temari's smirk made him stop for just long enough to see her pull out a smaller fan that was immediately charged with chakra. He quickly bent backwards at a 90-degree angle just in time to avoid being cut in the throat by a small blade of wind. When the boy dodged the attack, the girl frowned, but she wasn't too upset because it gave her time and space to get away from him. Once Temari was about 10 meters away from the boy, she let out a few big gusts of wind that pushed him back and stirred up any dirt on the ground that could block his vision or at least irritate his eyes. This made him angry, which could have made him run less well. Neji was getting angry, but not enough to do anything really bad. He could wait until she got tired of her weak wind attacks. Temari kept pushing her gusts of wind, making them stronger and stronger over time. As long as Neji stood there waiting, he wouldn't know what was coming. Sumuji Otoshi no Jutsu, she said in the end. The wind she had made all of a sudden got stronger until it completely surrounded Neji. She then lifted her fan up high, which also lifted the ball of wind that was holding Neji into the air. She then swung her fan down hard, which slammed the ball onto the floor of the arena. But just before the ball hit the floor of the arena, someone inside shouted, "Kaden." The wind ball exploded outwards a split second after he said it. A spinning wall of chakra was still in the middle. As the chakra faded away, Neji was still standing in the middle of it, unharmed. He didn't think twice either. He attacked the tired girl and knocked her out in 3 hits, before she could close her fan to defend herself. Neji stood up straight as soon as she hit the ground and walked away without looking back. "Winner, Hyuga Neji," said Hayate. The man looked so sick that it was hard to tell if he was mad at Neji's actions or not, but it didn't matter much at that point because the fight was over. After the fight was over, Naruto quickly gave each of the winners 9,444 ryo. Strangely, they all stayed to bet on the next fight. Those who won wanted more, and those who lost wanted their money back. Naruto almost laughed out loud when he thought about how much money he could get for all his trouble. Akado Yaroi vs Akamichi Choji. Naruto shouted, "Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. The gate is open until the fight starts." And was immediately surrounded by bets, most of which were in Choji's favor. Naruto didn't have to wait long to get the money because almost everyone was already there waiting to place their bets. Gaara wasn't fighting. Instead, he just stood off to the side and stared intently at the floor of the arena. Lee and Guy were talking, and they kept using the words unyouthful and youthful a lot. Neji laughed at Naruto, but that was all he did. Instead, he crossed his arms and looked at the floor of the arena. Still, Naruto would have a lot more money by the end of the day if he kept going at this rate. Yaroi looked a lot like his other teammate, except that he was shorter and a little bit fatter. His blue uniform, the bandana on his head, and the cloth over his face, as well as his dark round glasses, all went together. If it weren't for their different names, you might have thought they were brothers. Choji seemed relaxed as he ate the last of his chips before the game began. Some people were surprised that he could find a brown leather jacket that was big enough to cover him. It was a little rude to think that, but it was true. He was glad that he no longer wore the stupid bandana that looked like he was wearing tighty-whities on his head. Instead, he wore an alligator-shaped skullcap with the Konoha symbol stamped in the middle. "Hajime!" was shouted throughout the room to end betting and start the game. It didn't work out very well. Choji's arm grew to a huge size and hit Yaroi. He kept moving forward until he slammed Yaroi's body into the wall, breaking the stone and knocking out his opponent. "Winner, Akamichi Choji." "Damn," Naruto said in a happy way. "Win with one shot." People who lost their bets yelled and cursed, while those who won cheered, even though the payouts were much lower. "That wasn't even a match," Kiba grumbled. Asuma said, "It was a smart move by Choji. He may not have shown much of his skill, but he thought things through and made good decisions. Strategy seems to be more important than brute strength when it comes to making chunin. They are looking for leaders, not soldiers." Naruto thought that made sense. It was also a good sign for everyone who had made it to the next round. Most of the victories, except for Neji, were won because the winner had a better strategy than their opponent. Kinuda Dosu vs. Rock Lee. Naruto was excited about this fight because it was between two of the best fighters here, both of whom were strong in taijutsu. He had seen Dosu's stats a few days ago, but not Lee's. Name: Rock Lee. Genin, plus 10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level: LV30 next level, 80.44%. Belongs to Konoha. HP: 3,700. CP: 2020. STR: 360. VIT: 370. Dex: 360. Int: 20. Wis: 30. Luck: 10. Def: 150. SPD: 310. Status: Genius of Hard Work, plus 5 STR, plus 5 VIT, plus 5 Dex per level, and bonus stat gains go up by 100%, Chakra Deformity, CP goes down by 90%, and Tough, plus 50 STR, plus 50 VIT, plus 50 Dex. Rock Lee was born with a chakra coil system that was not right. Even so, Lee has worked himself almost to death to become a ninja, to show that even though he has a disability, he can still be a great shinobi. His hard work has paid off better than he could have ever imagined. Lee's numbers shocked Naruto. Even with all of his bonus status abilities, there was no way he could have gained that much strength, vitality, and dexterity. It should have been possible no matter how hard he trained or worked. He then looked at Guy, thinking that maybe that would make sense. Name: Maeda Guy. The name: Junin. Level: LV? Next level. Belongs to Konoha. HP. CP. STR. VIT. Dex. Int. Wis. Luck. Status. Master of Hard Work, plus 20 STR, plus 20 VIT, plus 20 Dex per level, plus 500% increase in bonus stat gain. Monster, plus 200 STR, plus 200 VIT, plus 200 Dex, Teacher of Hard Work, plus 25% experience in teaching skills, plus 50% increase in training bonus stats. Maeda Guy is known as Konoha's beautiful green beast. He is a famous taijutsu master that every country knows and fears. He is a true master of Goken, and no one can match his skill. He hasn't moved up in the village's social order because he cares about his students and wants to teach the next generation. Besides that, he's just strange. So, he didn't learn anything from that. Naruto couldn't think about the subject anymore because people were yelling at him to place their bets. This time, the bets were split right down the middle. The only strange thing was that Guy made a bet, trying to hide it but failing. Hajime. Naruto turned his attention to the fight, which looked like it would be good. Lee jumped up and down on his toes a few times and threw his fist into the air a few times. He looked pretty fast, but not even close to what his speed stat said he could do. His hair moved when he moved, and the ugly green leotard he was wearing showed way too much for anyone to be comfortable. Dosu, on the other hand, just hunched over and swayed from side to side. The spiky cloak on his back barely moved when Naruto's observe caught on to it. Quilled Shell is a strong piece of back defense that can take a lot of damage and make opponents pay for hitting it. Plus 200 def, and when it blocks a physical attack, it does 50 to 75 bleed damage every 5 seconds. That thing was dangerous, and Lee would have to be very careful around it or he could get into a lot of trouble. Then Naruto saw a piece of metal inside one of Dosu's extra long sleeves, and his observe chimed again. Melody Arm. It is used to boost or absorb sound waves made by the user's arm movements, which can then be controlled and directed with chakra to do more damage. On hit, there is a chance of blurry vision, dizziness, or paralysis. Ignores armor, does 100 to 150 damage inside the body. Even though Dosu wasn't as strong as Lee, he had better gear. The boy had a strange appearance. His headband and the bandages wrapped around his face made it hard to see most of his face. His clothes looked like strange camouflage, and Naruto couldn't for the life of him figure out where it would be useful. The fight started all of a sudden, with both people charging at each other and fighting quickly and fiercely with taijutsu. Both seemed to be trying to see how strong and skilled the other was. Lee's fighting style was very direct. He used powerful kicks and a few punches. Dosu's style was very fluid. He moved from side to side and used wide swinging attacks that seemed to do some damage even when they were blocked. Then Dosu got past Lee's defense and barely touched the green-clad genin on the stomach. Lee jumped back a few meters, then fell to his knees and threw up. Hey, I'm surprised you survived that hit. This is a first for me. No one has ever lived through having their chakra disturbed by my melody arm before, Dosu bragged, giving Lee too much time to get back on his feet. Lee threw up for a moment, and when he stopped, he stood up straight and wiped his mouth with one hand. I guess it's a good thing that my chakra coils don't work very well then. The Atonan's eyes got smaller, both because he understood and because he was angry. I see, he said, and then he attacked again, this time with more force than before. This put Lee on the defensive, waiting for a chance to strike. Dosu finally went too far, and Lee took advantage of it. His foot shot up hard and hit Dosu in the chin, sending the young man flying backwards and off his feet. But it didn't come for free. Lee threw up again, but this time it was a dry heave because the last hit had already emptied his stomach. Lee got up faster this time, and he jumped as far back as he could as Dosu did the same, hoping to get up a little more. Guy yelled, "Lee, take them off," and gave the boy a thumbs up. But Guy-sensei protested Lee. Guy cut him off by saying, "It's okay, you can do it this once." The boy smiled all of a sudden with a smile as bright as Guy's. He got on his knees and rolled down one of his leg warmers to see what was wrapped around his ankle. He quickly took it off and did the same thing to the other leg. When he stood up again, he held each wrap out to the side and let it fall. When they hit the floor, it broke apart right away and made a 3-meter deep hole. At this point, Naruto was more interested in the objects than Lee was. It was easy for him to tell who they were. Super extreme ankle weights. These weights weigh close to a metric ton each, so only the most dedicated people should use them. Requires base 150 STR to equip. When worn, the wearer can get 4 times the normal bonus in STR, VIT, Dex, and SPD per level. However, STR, Dex, and SPD are only half as useful while the item is worn. When Naruto saw those weights, he was almost salivating. Even though he couldn't wear those exact weights, he had to be able to wear something lower. Lee had to start somewhere and work up to those. And with Naruto's ability as a gamer, he'd gain weight very quickly if he could. But it also made him think about Dosu's gear, even Temari's battle fan. It wouldn't hurt to go pick up the weapons he'd ordered from Higarashi's months ago, and he and Sakura still hadn't had the crab shell looked at. So, if Naruto won his match against whoever he was fighting, he and Sakura had to go to Higarashi's. Winner, Rock Lee. Naruto was confused because he had only been looking at Lee's weights for a few seconds. How could the battle be over already? He looked and saw that Dosu was, in fact, knocked out and broken, and very badly so. Everything Lee did was extreme, quick, and very, very good. Naruto was confused and asked, "What happened?" "I'm not sure," Sakura said, sounding just as uncertain. Lee dropped those weighted wraps or whatever they were, and then he and Dosu both disappeared, and that was the end of it. "It happened too fast," said Sasuke, who was using his Sharingan. "I could hardly see it myself." "Fuck," Naruto said in a low voice. The gamblers didn't have to wait long to get their winnings and complain about their losses. Nara Shikamaru vs Sabaku Gaara. "Troublesome," Shikamaru moaned. "Now, forfeit," Naruto told Shikamaru, stopping him from going down there. "Che, troublesome," Shikamaru said again. "You sure?" "Very, forfeit." "Okay, I give up," said Shikamaru. "Winner, Sabaku Gaara," announced Hayate. Naruto couldn't help but sigh with relief that none of his friends had to face Gaara. Sabaku Kankuro vs Yamanaka Ino. Again, there were a lot of bets on Naruto, and most of them were on Kankuro, which made sense. Name: Sabaku Kankuro. Genin, plus 10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level: LV26 next level, 89.41%. Affiliation: Suna. HP: 770/770ths. CP: 360/360ths. STR: 41. VIT: 77. Dex: 174. Int: 36. Wis: 75. Luck: 6. Def: 300. SPD: 51. Status: Sneaky Bastard, plus 50% effectiveness to Stealth, Skill and plus 50% effectiveness to Trap, Skill, Carver, 15% effectiveness to Wood Carving, Skill, plus 25% experience gain to Wood Carving, Skill, Steady Hand, plus 5, Dex and plus 2, Wis per level. Sabaku Kankuro is one of the Kage's 3 children. He was chosen to carry on the long tradition of Sanagakure Kugutsu, and he has taken to the art with a passion and skill not seen since Akasuna Sasori. If Kankuro wasn't a fool, Ino would fall quickly. Kankuro could be an idiot, of course, because he looked like one. The young man was dressed as a black cat and had a lot of makeup on his face. He looked less like a shinobi and more like a clown. Sakura's help made it so that Ino looked like a kunoichi. The girls still liked clothes that fit their growing bodies, but the clothes they wore now were much more useful. Under the clothes, there were now pieces of light armor that were sewn in. She still liked color, but the dark purple, which could be mistaken for black in the dark, was better. She needs to do something about her hair. The fight started with Hajime. Ino was the first to start things off. Shintenshin no Jutsu. Her body dropped her spirit right where Kankuro would be if it were Kankuro. When Ino's technique hit the puppet, it broke into pieces. Kankuro, on the other hand, came out of hiding and looked at his puppet with a frown. He was clearly confused because the puppet was moving, but he hadn't done anything to make it move. He looked at the girl who wasn't moving and then at Proctor, who was also still. Then, he had to quickly move out of the way when one of the traps on his puppets went off. He could now see that one of Karasu's eyes was on him and even following him, which was very creepy. Kankuro looked again between the puppet and the girl's body when he suddenly realized what had happened. Holy crap, you put yourself in my puppet. He yelled, and he had to avoid another trap set by his puppet. Yeah, it's harder to control you stupid B*TCH than it looks, he said. He had to start dodging again because it looked like Ino was getting more in charge. He finally chose to go after the body. He ran to it, picked it up, and put a kunai to her throat. Surrender or you die. A few times, the puppet shook before it stopped moving. The body Kankuro was holding as a hostage seemed to come to life, but she didn't move because the kunai was pointed at her carotid artery. She didn't hesitate for a second before she said, I give up. Winner, Sabaku Kankuro. Before he let her go, Kankuro gave her a little squeeze. He didn't see the punch that knocked him out coming. Get fresh with me, will you? Ino yelled as he kicked the boy over and over. Asuma had to finally pull her off. Idiot, said Baki as he picked up Kankuro and his puppet and took them to the infirmary to meet Temari. Don't you think that was a bit much, Ino? Choji asked with a slight shake in his voice. Even though she didn't answer, Ino gave him and every other man in the room the stink eye. Karen versus Haruno Sakura. Ooh, now this should be a good fight, Naruto said with a smile. Name: Haruno Sakura. Genin, plus 10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level: LV26 next level, 7.14%. Belongs to Konoha. HP: 970/970ths. CP: 720/720ths. STR: 31. VIT: 97. Dex: 44. Int: 288. Wis: 412. Luck: 8. Def: 100. SPD: 42. Status: Perfect Control, plus 15 Wis per level, minus 50% cost to all Jutsu, Medic, minus 25% cost to Iryojutsu, plus 25% healing to Iryojutsu, Book Smart, plus 10 Int per level, minus 75% carbon monophosphide, plus 25% increase in skill experience. The smartest person in class is Haruno Sakura. She is very smart, but she is not very good at sports. After she became a genin and had to face some harsh truths, she did a lot of growing up. For starters, she got over her silly, childish crush on Sasuke. The question is still open as to whether or not she can fix the relationships in her life that her fangirlism has hurt. They weren't that different from each other, so it would come down to tactics and strategy to decide who was stronger. No bets, Naruto said, because he didn't want to bet on this match. One of the fighters was related to him, and the other one was on his team. So, are you Naruto-kun's girlfriend? Karen asked Sakura straight out as she stood next to her. Hell no. No need to be mean about it, Naruto whimpered from the balcony. Karen asked, is he gay? Naruto yelled, what the hell? I'm pretty sure he's not, Sakura said, making her teammate feel bad. She would be embarrassed to know that she was related to such an odd girl. Are you gay? What the heck is wrong with you? What? It's a fair question, she said with a shrug. So. Are you? No, I'm not gay. Oh, so why aren't you dating Naruto-kun? I like someone else, but Naruto is just a friend, nothing more. So, what's the deal? You like pretty boys? Sakura looked at the proctor in a desperate way and asked, can you start this now? It's okay if you do. I like the pretty boy type myself. Those delicate features and soft voices, like that Sasuke guy, really get me. Naruto couldn't stop the laugh that came out of him, and Kiba laughed right along with him. Or maybe that Neji guy can see everything with his hair and his Byakugan, if you know what I mean. Hinata laughed a little when she heard that. Her laugh was light and sounded like a little bell. Sakura's face wasn't just bright red because she was embarrassed. Yeah, you're definitely related to Naruto, she said under her breath. Hajime, Hayate was finally given permission by the Hokage. Poor Sakura was so embarrassed that she didn't see Karen close in on her, hit her in the stomach with her fist, and then knock her off her feet with an uppercut. Then Sakura kind of stopped being there. Shit, Genjutsu. Sakura was happy because she had caught Karen in her Genjutsu as soon as the match started. She was happy to work quickly to tie up the girl with ninja wire. But as she worked, she realized that she didn't have any ninja wire on her. Where did it come from? Shit, Genjutsu. From the outside, it looked like the two girls were just staring at each other. What's going on? Ino asked. Sasuke answered, Genjutsu, and his Sharingan picked up all of it. I didn't know that Forehead had gotten so good at them. I thought she was just an Irionin? She's become competent, he said with a sigh. She's gotten better, it's okay, you can say it. Naruto pushed Sasuke all the time, it wasn't anything new between them. He didn't want to push Sasuke too hard because he seemed much more stable and calmer today than on the first day of the Chunin exams. Still, a jackass. Finally, there were two solid thumps from the floor as both girls passed out. The Genjutsu war was over, and both girls had lost. Draw, Hayate said as he waved for the doctors to come check on the two. Not even a second after he said it, Karen jumped back up and sat down. Is it all over? Did I win? Draw, both of you lost, Hayate said. Damn, she was good. I thought I had her with the pretty boy orgy Genjutsu, too. All of the genin there looked at Naruto, then at Karen, and then back at Naruto. What? That sounds like something stupid you do, Ino said without shame. I would never, he began to say, but stopped when he heard the Hokage cough. Sakura woke up a minute later, and her face turned pink almost right away. She looked shyly at Sasuke for a moment before quickly turning away. Sakura wouldn't look anyone in the eyes as she walked up the stairs with Karen to the balcony. So, how did you get better before I did? Sakura asked. I don't know, I've always healed quickly. I guess it's in my genes. Naruto also seems to get better pretty quickly. Is it a Kake Genkai? Could be, but I don't know. Like I told Naruto-kun, I was taken when I was very young. I didn't even know I might be Uzumaki until he told me about an hour ago. You think the recovery could be an Uzumaki thing? Naruto asked when he joined their conversation. Your mother always got better quickly, added Kakashi, who was trying to be helpful. I haven't met many Uzumaki, but I've heard that they can heal quickly, live long lives, and have strong chakra. But for all I know, those are all just rumors. Naruto asked, what else can you tell me about my mother? Well, I don't know much, but I do remember hearing that she was actually a princess. Well, not really a princess, but she was the heir to the Uzumaki clan. So that would mean I'm the heir? Naruto asked. I guess, but it's hard to be the heir to a clan with only one heir, if Karen is Uzumaki, 2 members. After learning about your family in the order of their legacy, your status changed from Uzumaki to Uzumaki clan heir, which gives you plus 100 vit, plus 100 int, and plus 150% experience in Fuinjutsu skill. Naruto wanted to scream and shout with happiness when he saw that change, but he was able to keep himself from doing so, at least for now. Naruto was about to ask for more details, but the next fight was announced before he could. Uchiha Sasuke vs. Abumi Zaku. Ha, I get the pretty boy, this is going to be easy, Zaku said as he jumped over the rail and landed softly on the tiled floor below. The boy's hair was spiky and dark brown, almost like Kakashi's hair. Simple pants and a shirt with the same pattern as Dosu's were all he wore. Sasuke sneered. He didn't like being called a pretty boy at all. Sasuke also jumped over the railing, landed quietly, and took his place next to Zaku. Sasuke was wearing his usual dark blue shirt and black shorts. The Uchiha fan was proudly printed on the back of the shirt. Back with Naruto, the bets he made heavily favored Sasuke, which was what he expected. Zaku wasn't very impressive, and his actions showed that he was way too sure of himself. Hajime. Sasuke's Sharingan lit up right away, and he moved quickly, coming up in front of Zaku with his Chikuto already drawn. He wanted to end the fight quickly. When the Uchiha showed up in front of Zaku, his eyes grew wide. The boy instinctively pushed chakra to his arms. His left arm shot out a blast of wind that pushed him away from Sasuke, while his right arm hit Sasuke in the ribs and sent him flying through the air. The flying Uchiha groaned in pain as he bounced once on the hard stone tiles that covered the floor. However, the bounce gave him a chance to change his position and get back on his feet. He turned his attention back to Zaku and ran at him, sometimes strafing left or right to avoid a gust of wind and his hands blurring as they broke seals. Sasuke took a deep breath and held it for a moment while he waited for Zaku to send out another gust of wind. Zaku laughed when he saw that the Uchiha had finally stopped moving. He charged up both arms and fired his strongest attack. Zankokyokuha no Jutsu. Now it was Sasuke's turn to smile as he sent out a huge fireball that grew bigger when it hit the wind, quickly overpowering it and destroying Zaku. When the fire and smoke cleared, all that was left was a charred briquette that didn't look much like a person. A moment later, it turned into ash. Winner, Uchiha Sasuke. When it was done, the room was mostly quiet. Killing was legal, but, as I said at the beginning, it was looked down upon. The faint shape of a young man on the wall was also unsettling. It wasn't a good death, but at least it happened quickly. Sasuke didn't feel anything as he went back up the stairs to join his team. Naruto paid out the winnings from the gambling, but the people who got their money were sad. Aburame Shino vs Tsurugi Masumi. A new round of betting started, but this time it was much quieter because almost none of the genin were interested in it anymore since someone had died and they had made money from it. Even Naruto felt a little bad about taking bets in this way, but he knew he couldn't refuse the money or it would hurt his business in the long run. The other genin was trying to kill Sasuke, so it was also a fair kill. Naruto just wasn't that bothered by it, while everyone else was clearly bothered by it because they didn't kill as often. That made me think of something else. People who kept betting were exposed to killing and death, and some of them may have even killed people themselves. It made them a little bit riskier than people who hadn't killed anyone. It was upsetting, but it was good to know. Masumi looked a lot like his teammate, except that he was taller and a little bit thinner. His blue uniform, the bandana on his head, and the cloth over his face, as well as his dark round glasses, all went together. If it weren't for their different names, you might have thought they were brothers. Shino stood around doing nothing while he waited. His long gray coat with a high collar was just like Naruto remembered it from when he was in the academy, and he still had a big fro on his head that looked out of place. Hajime. Masumi was the first to attack. He threw a few kunai at Shino, which Shino blocked with his own kunai. It was a pretty boring fight, and it seemed like both fighters were just testing each other by trading small blows and taijutsu moves. When Masumi got close enough, his body seemed to stretch out and wrap around Shino, holding the young man in place. Masumi yelled, "Give up or I'll break your neck." She was breathing hard and starting to sweat a lot. Shino didn't move or talk. He just waited. Masumi yelled, "Give up, damn it." Again, looking even paler. I said. What the? Gah. The man suddenly untied Shino, who fell to the ground unconscious in a heap. Winner, Aburame Shino. What just happened? Naruto asked, not understanding what had just happened. Shino's Kakaichu, answered Kiba. His bugs can take chakra from anyone they land on. He can drain a person's chakra in just a few minutes, or less if there are more bugs on them. That's cool, but also very scary, Naruto said. Ino, Sakura, and Karen all said, yeah, at the same time shuddering in disgust. Because this round has an odd number of competitors, the last fight will be between the 3 remaining competitors, Hayate said, coughing every few words. Hyuga Hinata vs Tsuchi Kin vs Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto wasn't ready for that announcement because he hadn't really kept track of how many competitors there were, so he didn't know there were an odd number. But it was pretty cool that there was a fight between 2 Konoha shinobi and 1 Auto shinobi. Naruto and Hinata jumped down, and then Kin did the same a moment later. Kin wore the same grayish camouflage as her 2 other teammates, which made no sense at all. She had long, straight black hair that fell straight down her back. She was actually not very pretty. Hinata was wearing her usual big coat and fidgeting nervously, which Naruto had seen her do every time he saw her. Her navy hair was still short, except for 2 bangs that framed her face. Her forehead protector hung around her neck. So, Hinata, what do you say we take out Kin together first, and then we can fight? What do you think? Sure. Naruto-kun, Hinata stuttered, half relieved and half worried about what this meant. On the one hand, she would get help to kill Kin, but on the other, she would have to fight Naruto by herself. Kin frowned at how unfair the situation was. This is a bunch of crap. Bad luck, for sure, but it could have easily gone the other way, with 2 Auto shinobi versus 1 Konoha, Naruto said. It's just the luck of the draw. Don't worry though, we won't kill you. Probably won't kill you. Your death is unlikely but possible. Naruto loved pranks as rarely as he pulled them these days, and messing with an opponent's head could still be considered a prank, couldn't it? Hajime, Hayate said, quickly moving away because he didn't want to get caught in the middle of the fighting. Naruto started the fight by firing a lot of mud balls at Kin all at once. Kin had to run away, which led her right to the Hyuga. Hinata knew exactly what Naruto was going to do, so she moved right into place. When Kin was drawn to her, it only took 5 quick taps in quick succession to put the girl out of the fight. No, Kin-san has to go. Hayate showed up next to the girl who was unconscious, picked her up, and then disappeared. Alright, Hinata, let's have a good fight. Hi, Hinata stutteringly said. Her body took the first stance of the Hyuga Juken by itself. Naruto threw a ball of mud at her and watched as she avoided it without moving an inch. He shot a few more times to see what she would do. She easily sidestepped 2 of them and deflected the rest with her open palm, taking no damage. Not moving or going after him. So he attacked her again, throwing more mud balls at her. Even if none of them hit, this made her move a lot more. While she was trying to avoid him, he made a few copies of himself to attack her up close. Hinata was able to easily avoid or move away from the mud balls that were shot at her. She was so focused on what she was doing that she didn't notice Naruto using taijutsu on her until he was almost on top of her. Her hand went out on its own and hit Naruto right in the chest, but he just burst into a cloud of smoke. Then she saw that there were more Narutos attacking her, and each one had its own body and chakra system. Naruto watched as his clones and the mud balls he kept throwing at her started to make her weaker and weaker. When one of the mud balls hit her shoulder, it was his first real hit. The young girl spun around and lost her balance for a moment. He didn't think she would use the moment of the spin to split kick out both of her legs, killing 3 of his clones and giving her space. You're pretty good, Hinata, Naruto told her. Hinata's cheeks got hot when she heard the compliment. Even though she was breathing hard and her shoulder hurt a lot, she'd never felt better in her life. She said, "Thank you, Naruto-kun," but she stuttered as usual. "But you have to attack me if you want any chance of winning." "I can spam clones and mud balls all day long," Naruto warned. He wanted a good fight, and if there was anything he could do to make her less unconfident, he would. Hinata gave a nervous nod and swallowed hard. She knew he was right, but she didn't think she could do what he said. Naruto told Hinata, "You can fight me. Just think of it as a spar." He knew it was a big chance to try to get the girl to like him. Even telling the girl to fight him seriously was probably stupid, but she was a friend, and he liked helping friends no matter what it cost him. Hinata took a few deep breaths to calm herself, and then she nodded. She threw a bunch of shuriken at Naruto to get him to pay attention away from her so she could get closer. Naruto smiled when he saw her attack. The shuriken was easy to avoid, but he was close to Hinata and had to quickly move out of the way of her glowing blue hand. He was lucky that he was able to send one of his clones instead. It didn't work for long, though, because she caught on again. Hinata couldn't believe how well she was doing, even though she hadn't hit him yet. She had always been surprised by Naruto's determination, but that determination never made up for his talent or lack of talent. She was shocked to find out that Naruto's taijutsu had gotten so much better. He was easily coordinating his attack with clones and himself. She was starting to get confused about who was Naruto and who was a clone. All she could do was keep attacking and hope for the best. On the other side of the fight, Naruto was starting to worry that he had made a mistake by helping Hinata. Hinata quickly killed the clones, so he spent half of his time making more of them. He had gotten a few indirect hits, but they didn't do much damage. He had even tried to get away from Hinata again, but she wouldn't let him. Hinata could feel her energy running out quickly, which wasn't too surprising since Naruto had so much energy that he never seemed to get tired no matter what he was doing. She lunged forward to hit another clone and easily got rid of it, but when she tried to move away from a strike coming at her, the muscles in her leg protested, which slowed her down a lot. It was enough for the attack she was trying to avoid to hit her right where she was trying to avoid it. Naruto felt the ribs break when he hit them with his fist. He had hit with enough force that it wasn't too surprising that the ribs broke in that way. He didn't think it would turn Hinata into a chair. The girl collapsed to her knees, clutching her side and gasping for air. Naruto and his clones moved back, giving her space to heal or decide if she wanted to keep fighting. He kind of hoped that she would leave during the break to get help, because if she kept coming back, he would probably end up hurting her. "Can you keep going, Hinata?" Naruto asked, not letting up for a moment. Hinata coughed a few more times and tried to get up, but she fell down again. I'm afraid. I can't. Continue, she said, but it was clear that she was struggling to breathe. Naruto looked over at the judge. Is that good enough? Winner, Uzumaki Naruto. Great, can we get Hinata to a doctor now? I think I broke some of her ribs. Hayate pointed in the direction of the medical station and called for help for Hinata. Good fight, Hinata, Naruto said as he knelt next to her while the medics came. You're a strong person. So are you, and that Juken is dangerous, I tell you, he said, making the girl laugh in pain. She said, thank you, in a soft voice. Naruto didn't know what she meant when she asked, for what? Hinata couldn't answer because doctors came and pushed him away before he could. Hinata had to be carried out because her broken ribs had to be put back in place and then fixed. There wasn't much they could do about it. Once Hinata left the room, the Hokage called all of the other contestants down to stand in front of him again. Congratulations to all of you who made it to the final round of the Chunin selection exam. In a month, we'll hold a tournament here in Konoha where you'll compete for the honor of your village, a chance to be promoted, and fame and glory for the winner. If you're wondering why a month, it's because the daimyo and other clients need time to travel. Now, if each of the winners comes up here and picks one ball from this box, that will decide the fight order, Anko almost shouted as she rolled out a stand with a large box on it. The top of the box had a single hole. The line formed pretty quickly. When Naruto's number was called, he couldn't help but feel a shiver go down his back. When he opened his hand, he saw a white ball with a bright red 9 on it. He wasn't sure if it was on purpose or just strange karma, but he wasn't going to make a big deal out of it because he didn't want to draw attention to himself. 1 Neji vs 2 Shino. 3 Konkuro vs 4 Lee. 5 Kiba vs 6 Choji. 7 Gaara vs winner, 8 Sasuke vs 9 Naruto. Naruto couldn't help feeling like he'd just been messed over. He was pretty sure he could beat Sasuke, but he knew it wouldn't be easy. In fact, the fight could have gone either way. He was worried about the next fight, which was against Gaara. He wasn't going to be able to avoid the fight either. Well, then we'll see you all at noon in the Konoha Stadium exactly 1 month from today, said Hayate before the rest of the exam proctors, and the Hokage disappeared, leaving only a few leaves behind. Bonus 50,000 Express for completing an objective. Bonus 50,000 Express for completing an objective. When the quest is done, you get 100,000 Express. Quest Alert. Stage 2.5 of the Chunin Selection Exam. Complete the first part of the Chunin Selection Exam without failing. Objectives. Beat the other person. Goals for extras. Help Hinata fight to the best of her ability. Win with no mistakes. Award for completion. 100,000 Express. 50,000 Express per bonus objective. Completion failure. 10,000 Express. The end of the Chunin exam. Naruto was happy to finish the quest and get a lot of experience points for it. Only to find another window there. Find a trainer to help you get ready for the Chunin Selection Exam Stage 3. Choose a trainer who will teach you what you need to know for the Chunin Selection Exam Stage 3. Objectives. Find someone who will help you prepare for the finals. Pass the test given by the person who wants to hire you. Take on the possible trainer. Goals for extras. Award for completion. 100,000 Express. 50,000 Express per bonus objective. Completion failure. 10,000 Express. No help getting ready for the finals. Naruto didn't like this quest because it sounded like he would get in trouble. Even so, he accepted, and all of a sudden, he saw a bunch of blue question marks over the different Junin sensei. The question marks were quickly going away. First, Naruto looked for Kakashi, and just as he did, the question mark went away. Sasuke was standing in front of their sensei. He gave a single nod and turned away. When he went up against Naruto, the jerk had the nerve to grin like he'd just won a big battle. Kakashi said, "I'm sorry, Naruto, but Sasuke got to me first. I can try to put you in touch with someone I know who might be able to help you." Naruto wanted to get angry, but he couldn't because his game showed him dozens of people who could train him. He just had to choose one and do well on the test. "I'll find someone, so don't worry about it." Kakashi said, "If you need anything, don't be afraid to ask the Hokage. I'm sure he could also help you find someone." Naruto nodded to show that he agreed and then looked around the room at the other Junin. He noticed right away that neither Kurenai nor Asuma were chosen to teach any of their students. This made him wonder why, so he asked. "Hey, Asuma-sensei, why aren't you getting Choji ready for the finals?" "Ah," I offered, but Choji said his father had already promised to train him if he made it. "It's best for Choji to learn clan techniques from his dad," he said as he looked in his pouch for something. "What about you, Kurenai-sensei?" "Same thing, my students are both clan children, so they will train with them. Also, thank you for not hurting Hinata. I think fighting you really helped her." Naruto got a little red in the face because he was still not used to praise from adults. "Oh, it's nothing. I was just happy to help a friend. Anyway, since neither of you are training anyone and the Teme already took my sensei, would either of you be willing to help me?" "Sure, but first you have to do something for me," Asuma said. "What is it that you need me to do?" "Find my cigarette case. When was the last time you saw it?" "I know I had it this morning when I left the Hibasha onsen, so I could have lost it anywhere between there and here," he said. "I'm just wondering, but... what can you teach me if I let you?" "Well, I'm pretty good at fighting with trench knives and futon jutsu." "Asuma-sensei. If you choose Asuma to be your only trainer for 30 days, you'll get +1 STR and +1 dex per level you reach while he's in charge. You will also get +50% experience when you learn the Chakrata skill and the Futon Jutsu skill." If it didn't look so strange, Naruto would have whistled to show how happy he was. But he talked to Kurenai first before taking on Asuma's job. "Kurenai-sensei, how about you? What can I do for you?" "If you find his pouch, destroy it, and I'll teach you," she said, laughing a little at Asuma's shocked face. "What lessons can you teach me? I'm the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha for a reason, so I can help you." "Kurenai-sensei. If you choose Kurenai to be your only trainer for 30 days, you'll get +2 WIS per level you reach while she's in charge. You will also get +50% experience when learning Genjutsu and +100% experience when using the Detect Genjutsu and Dispel Genjutsu skills." Naruto knew that Kurenai's help would be good in the long run, but that it wouldn't help him much in getting ready to fight Gaara. "As much as I like Kurenai-sensei, I think Asuma-sensei can help me prepare better for Sasuke and Gaara. So, I'll find your pouch and bring it back to you as soon as I can." "Okay, I'll be at Yakiniku-Q with my team buying them all lunch to celebrate making it out alive. You can find me there, but don't wait too long or I'll go looking for it myself." Naruto gave the man a quick salute, then turned around quickly and ran out of the auditorium and then the tower to the waiting ferry that would take him and the other genin out of the forest. Status. Name: Uzumaki Naruto. The Gamer's Class. Genin, +10 points added to the amount of experience gained. Level: LV28 next level, 41.33%. Belongs to Konoha. HP: 5746 5746. CP: 4509 4509. STR: 63, 31.30, equals 94.30. VIT: 58, 426.60, equals 574.60. Dex: 63, 49.94, equals 112.94. Int: 63, 297.88, equals 450.88. WIS: 58, 43.21, equals 101.21. Luck: Def: 239, 59.75, equals 298.75. SPD: 43, 84.06, equals 127.06. Status: Uzumaki Clan Heir, +100 VIT, +100 Int, +150% experience to Fuinjutsu, Skill, Kyuubi Jinchuriki, +100 HP and +100 CP per level, Inspirational Leader, +25% to any team's experience gain. Uzumaki Naruto is the last person to graduate this year. He got a low grade because he couldn't make a basic bunshin. After the test, Naruto showed his worth by stopping a traitor and learning 2A rank Kinjutsu. And finally, he has some answers about his past, but there are still some questions. Whose son is he? What did the Kyuubi do to get away? Point. 20. Ryo. 704,650. Quest log. Stage 1 of the Chunin selection exam. Complete the first part of the Chunin selection exam and do well. Objectives. Get a good grade. Goals for extras. Don't answer a single question to pass. Don't lose any points while cheating. Get your fellow genin excited. Award for completion, 50,000 express. 25,000 express per bonus objective. Completion failure, 10,000 express. The end of the Chunin exam. Quest alert. Stage 2 of the Chunin selection exam. Finish the second part of the Chunin selection exam without failing. Objectives. Get an Earth Scroll and a Heaven Scroll. You have 5 days to get to the center tower. Make it through Orochimaru's attack. Goals for extras. You have less than 12 hours to get to the central tower. You have less than 24 hours to get to the center tower. You have less than 48 hours to get to the center tower. You have less than 72 hours to get to the central tower. You have less than 96 hours to get to the center tower. Stop Orochimaru from giving Sasuke a curse seal. Acquire an extra Heaven Scroll. Get a second Earth Scroll. Award for completion, 100,000 express. 50,000 express per bonus objective. Completion failure, 10,000 express. Death or the end of the Chunin exam.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.